Welcome back to my channel, Famous and Fabulous. When the tall, quiet Randolph Scott myth died and a fortune was disclosed, a wealth of funds that caused his family to gasp. It's not just regarding his earnings on screen. It's concerning a secret kingdom, a life of intelligent decisions as well as a man's peaceful heart who concealed his deepest secrets. Obtain prepared to learn the whole tale of the unexpected wealth of Randolph Scott and the events that genuinely shaped him. The complete name of Randolph Scott was the birth date of George Randolph Scott was 1898, January 23rd in Orange County, Virginia. His family quickly relocated he was raised in Charlotte, North Carolina. His family was renowned and possessed cash. His mother came from a rich household, and George Grant Scott, his father, was a leading North Carolina accountant. His dad even contributed to the creation of the state's, the first law for certified public accountants, demonstrating his crucial role throughout the neighborhood. Randolph was among 6 kids, 5 boys, and 1 boy's sisters. Randolph, who was young, went to fancy private schools, demonstrating his family's cozy existence. He was excellent in sports, particularly football, swimming, baseball, and horse racing. This privileged upbringing and his sports accomplishments made him stand out. He wasn't only a typical farm boy. It provided him a certain discipline and polish that would benefit him in his later years, even if he took a different route. After completing school, Randolph experienced a significant shift. When America entered World War I, I was 19 when I enlisted in the army. He was an artilleryman in France Spectator, which was a grave and hazardous work. Following the conflict, Randolph wanted to be a famous football player at Georgia Tech. He was gifted and the drive, but an excruciating back ailment prevented his cold football dreams. This was a shattering blow, putting an end to a journey he had worked hard to earn. Afterwards, when World War he attempted to enlist in the Marines when the Second began, Corps. However, his long-standing back ailment kept Hyman's more out of service. With his dreams gone, Randolph returned to Charlotte and attempted to work in his father's bookkeeping company. However, the realm of figures and ledgers simply wasn't for him. It became evident that the call was somewhere else, distant from the desk job that is quiet. It was the father of Randolph who aided him in discovering that new world. His dad was acquainted with Howard Hughes, a huge name in the film industry. He provided a letter to Randolph to assist him in obtaining, began in Hollywood, demonstrating that even for an apparently self-made celebrity, relationships may lead to opportunities. In 1928, Randolph gathered his belongings and left for California, bringing in little pieces films such as Sharpshooters. A well-known Cecil B. Deal, the director, noticed something unique in Randolph. He informed the youthman should practice acting more. Stage. Listening, Randolph took Deal's take recommendations seriously. He visited the Pasadena Playhouse, a renowned theater school, and acquired several much-needed encounters there. All that hard in 1932, the effort paid off. At last, Randolph received a huge break, agreeing to a 7-year contract with for $400 per week, Paramount Pictures. This was an excellent beginning for the man who would become a legend in the West, but it was only a small sample of the extraordinary wealth he would eventually be built. This first, although the pay was high at the time, it was not even close to the millions he'd accumulate, increasing his fortune in the future. More unexpected. Randolph Scott wasn't simply a movie star who had a nice appearance on a horse. He was an extremely intelligent businessman, an uncommon quality in Hollywood. He produced making wise financial decisions, investing prudently all of his life. This meticulous preparation and astute financial. His sensibility distinguished him from many others, actors who frequently used their money as fast as they were manufactured. It became evident that his attention was not only focused on fame, not on accumulating long-term riches. By his wealth at the end of his life was estimated at $100 million, this making him one of the wealthiest individuals in Hollywood, a silent tycoon of riches concealed under his well-known cowboy persona. The enormity of enormous wealth, particularly in contrast to his acting wages, conveys a compelling narrative. It demonstrates that his actual brilliance was not just in his performance, but in the way he handled and grew his wealth. Indeed, as early as, according to accounts from 1965, his real estate alone, in locations such as Palm and San Fernando Springs, was valued at more over $100 million. This implies that his whole fortune, at when he passed away, providing further assets, was probably even more substantial, or that the sum of $100 million is a cautious assessment of his total monetary achievement. At the beginning of his career, Randolph began investing his funds in property. He was a landowner, and properties throughout numerous locations, including his Charlotte, North Carolina, where the family resides. The home he occupied in Carolina is standing as of this now. However, his large sum of money originated in California. Real estate, such as Palm Springs and San Fernando, which were real estate hotspots. This real estate-focused approach was a wise shift as real estate prices increased over the years, gradually growing his fortune. Additionally, he made investments in gas and oil wells, which greatly increased his wealth. These natural resource investments were a typical method for his affluent people time for their money to increase. Randolph, too, clearly knew how to choose winners. He had a reputation for constantly observing magazines and financial journals, even on film sets, looking for fresh investments. This ongoing focus on the financial realm, even when employed on movies, displays a profound, nearly compulsive dedication to enhancing his finances empire. It was an ambitious plan that many of his contemporaries did not. Following his first agreement of $400 per week, Randolph's income increased as he rose to a larger star. For instance, he received $130,000 for the 1949 film Canadian Pacific and, in 1947, $70,000 for Trail Street. These were large amounts for the time, demonstrating his increasing worth in Hollywood. The trip of Randolph Scott to Sutley, becoming a movie legend, started. Following his signing of his deal with his initial role at Paramount was a minor role in the 1932 comedy Sky Bride. However, Paramount immediately noticed something unique within him. He was cast as the primary heritage of the Desert's character, also in 1932. This film was significant due to the fact that it was his first major star role, and it demonstrated to everyone that he was a Western hero by nature. The movie did nicely, and it put him on track to earn 10 Western movies that are based on the well-known Zane Gay books. These grey Westerns by Zane were frequently created on a shoestring. Occasionally, old movie snippets would be recycled by the studio from silent films and even revive the same players to cut costs. This indicated that in certain instances, Randolph's characters may appear younger or older. His hair even darkened abruptly, or he developed a mustache to resemble the elder video. In spite of these ways to save money, a specialist in movies named William Kay. According to Everson, the Zay Gay series was consistently good. He even made a call to the Finally, one of these movies, nearly a model of its type, complementing its powerful narrative and outstanding performance. In between these in cowboy films, Paramount attempted to Randolph in various capacities. He portrayed the other man in the film Carrie and Nancy Carroll on A Hot Saturday Grant in 1932. Additionally, he had an appearance in scary films such as Murders, in the Zoo and Supernatural with well-known celebrities similar to Carol Lombard. However, regardless of in his other roles, he consistently appeared returning to Westerns. Among his greatest early achievements occurred when Heen, The Last of the Day, as Hawkeye Mohicans in 1936. This adventure movie was a big success and provided him with his first enormous achievement as the head of Abig Film. Following this, Paramount exclusively desired to have him in their high-end movies. He even served as a potential love interest for their renowned Mae West in the film Go West Young Man 1936. When the Second World War broke out, Randolph attempted to enlist in the Marines, but an elderly years of prior back injuries kept him from entering. Nevertheless, he assisted with the war effort through the performance of comedy displays and even cultivating crops on his land for the state. Additionally, he made a number of To the Shores of Tripoli and other war movies as well as Bombardier. In 1946, following the war, Randolph produced the film Abilene Town, which genuinely characterized his reputation as a fearless police officer tidying up a crazy town. From this point on, practically all of his films were westerns. These westerns cost roughly $1 million each in the late 1940s to make, a substantial sum of money in the past. So, he frequently collaborated with producers Nat Harry Joe Brown and Hall. The movie BFI companion to the Western experts observed that as Randolph aged, his characters shifted. He portrayed men who'd witnessed a great deal of suffering, becoming composed and stoic. Randolph's final, The Mystery of Non-Western Cinema, was dubbed 1947's Home Sweet Homicide, and a family drama on Christmas Eve in 1947 as well. Additionally, played a minor role in Starlift in 1951. He and Nat produced a number of westerns. Hole, encompassing Batman's Domain and Trail Street. After that, he worked closely with Harry Joe Brown, is making a lot of well-known westerns, such as Coroner Creek and Santa Fe. Their movies were occasionally captured using unique color techniques, creating they are distinctive. At Warner Brothers, Randolph's pay increased to $100,000, according to a 1950 film, which would be over today $1.3 million. He produced a lot of prosperous westerns there, frequently with Andre Detto is the director. In 1956, a new Randolph's chapter began when he partnered with Bud Budder, the director and author Burt Kennedy. Wayne John Randolph was recommended for their movie Seven. This film, Men from Now, and the six that came after are currently regarded as some of Randolph's finest. They are frequently referred as the Ranone Cycle, which bears his name, Harry Joe Brown, and his production company. Randolph appeared in these movies as a silent sage warrior who battled lovely villains. Many years ago, between 1932 and Randolph Scott resided in 1944 with fellow Cary Grant, an actor, in a beachfront home in Malibu. Jokingly, people referred to their bachelor hall at home. On the set, they first met of Hot Saturday and grew close to companions. This common residence and strong relationship caused a lot of speculations and chit-chat in Hollywood about their partnership. Individuals questioned whether they were more than simply pals, and the movie studios felt enormous pressure as a result of these murmurs. To safeguard their professional lives and public perception, the studios ultimately forced them to leave each other's homes. It was a depressing and challenging period, as they had to conceal some of their lives as a result of societal beliefs concerning relationships in the past. It was a severe personal loss that compels them to give up anything in order to further their careers, demonstrating the unstated costs of celebrity. Randolph Scott had 2 marriages during his life. 1936 saw him get married for the first time to Marion. Dupont was extremely wealthy, yet attended in divorce after only 3 years. In Randolph wed actress Patricia in 1944, Stillman. They remained together throughout their remaining years of his life in a contemporary 43 years of residence in Beverly Hills. This lengthy marriage provided a secure and private household life distant from the Hollywood glare. In 1950, Randolph and Patricia adopted a son and 2 more children, Christopher, as well as a daughter named Sandra. Later, his son Christopher wrote, "His father is depicted in a novel as a devoted, moral, and loving family man. Later in his life, this family life developed. Profession implies a wish for normalcy and an unwavering dedication to fatherhood, maybe as a means of establishing the stable. His private life had been excluded earlier. Scott Randolph was a very private individual all of his life. He disliked being in the spotlight a lot and conducted interviews infrequently. He thought, according to the proverb, never allow yourself be seen in the public eye unless they purchase it. This intense need for a peaceful existence was a significant aspect of his identity, maintaining his private life apart from his renowned cowboy image, indicating that he cautiously protected who he really was, adding to the enigma surrounding his private life, even now. His inclination, as well as the reason why many information concerning his private holdings, such as a group of cars, are not well known. He favored retaining his money and items hidden from the public view, concentrating on the useful elements of his investments instead of displaying them away. Randolph Scott made the decision to halt a 64-year-old actor following his film in 1962, Take a Ride on the High Country. He said, "The performance in that film was simply uninteresting, no longer him." This choice to retire at comparatively early age, particularly from a prosperous career, was feasible, due of his enormous fortune. He hadged several $1 million from his wise financial decisions, so he didn't have to work in order to earn a living. This monetary, with his independence, he was able to opt for a life free from the imposing the Hollywood industry. He was among the first performer to launch their own show-renowned production company, a business in the 1940s. This was revolutionary move during that time, like the majority of celebs were connected to large studios. Creating his own firm allowed him greater authority over his movies and their earnings, directly assisting him in accumulating wealth. This business decision demonstrates his vision and enterprising nature, demonstrating that he was not only a performer, but also a perceptive entrepreneur who knew how to exploit his notoriety to make money. Randolph retired and spent his time having fun with his family. He cherished attending the LA Angels frequently and playing baseball with his close pal Frida Staircase. These peaceful pastimes and long-lasting friendships demonstrate his inclination for a modest, private existence away from the magnificence and splendor of Hollywood. He also made good pals with Billy Graham, the well-known Reverend, a relationship that demonstrated his strong religious beliefs as well as conservative principles. He was a powerful hardline Republican who backed during his tenure as governor of California, demonstrating his unmistakable political convictions. As Randolph Scott was extremely wealthy, there are no extensive information or rumors about him, has a sizable collection of high-end vehicles. He was pictured beside a car in the area, Tie 5, yet in contrast to his vast real investments in real estate and energy, automobiles were not a noteworthy aspect of his enormous fortune. This lack of a well-known vehicle collection highlights his pragmatic approach to investing that is centered on wealth instead of flaunting his wealth with ostentatious belongings. His personal valuables were more about both his personal and professional lives. He was admitted to the Great Western Hall of Fame 1975 performers, a sincere tribute to his contributions to movie. Souvenirs such as pictures and his lengthy career's clippings are still discovered today, treasured by admirers. Additionally, the Amon Carter Museum was visited by Western art, demonstrating his close relationship to American history and the arts West. These specifics demonstrate that his accomplishments included gems and the peaceful existence he created instead of material belongings. In his last, Randolph Scott endured years of severe health issues. His heart was weak and had trouble breathing, which get worse as he got older. He was frequently admitted to the hospital due to pneumonia, an illness that's very dangerous for senior citizens. These health issues were a challenging era of the rugged cowboy hero, demonstrating the inevitable degeneration that occurs as one ages. Randolph, on March 2nd, 1987, Scott departed in peace in his sleep at his Beverly Hills residence. He was 89. A depressing observation was that Cary Grant, a good friend, had passed away, only 2 months ahead of him. When Randolph was informed of Grant's, according to reports, he buried his head in his hands and let out a cry. It was a modest funeral for him, private gathering with just 25 or so family members present. It took place close to his Charlotte, North Carolina, childhood home Carolina, a silent send-off in the location where he was raised. Billy, the Reverend, his good friend Graham spearheaded the assistance. Even Ronald Reagan, the president who Scott had backed, wrote a note describing Scott as one of the greatest in Hollywood abilities. The diminutive personal character of his burial, in spite of his notoriety and riches, which complemented his lifetime, the need for privacy. The work of Randolph Scott perceived as a strong moral cowboy was so strong that it was recognized in the humorous film Blazing Saddles. This demonstrates how profoundly his identity had evolved into a component of American society. His creations influenced the genre of Western films, making him a crucial player in history of film. He had a reputation for playing personalities that are tough but complex. Bringing the cowboy hero has depth. He was given numerous accolades during his lifetime and following his death. He received a star. In 1960, on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, evident evidence of his enduring influence. He was also admitted to the Hall of Great Performers from the West in 1975, solidifying his status as a legendary figure in the genre. Following his death, he was given a Golden Boot Award, acknowledging his significant contributions to Westerns. Even after Randolph Scott's story, his death still being discussed, particularly the gossip around his personal life and his connection to Cary Grant. There have been discussions over a message he abandoned that allegedly exposed details about his life. Although such a note's contents are not made public, recognized, the concept of it still alter people's perceptions of the man who created the tale. His narrative, together with others of that same period, has resulted in people inquiring as to whether the silent tough, the image of the cowboy, was genuine, or if it was occasionally used as a cover to conceal emotions, challenges, or an other, personal reality. This inquiry has aided in altering how movies include powerful personalities. Today, increasing their transparency regarding their sentiments and demonstrating that even heroes can lead complicated inner lives.